The Bauhaus was Gropius's idea. I dream, he said, of building a community out of isolated individuals, or young people who have returned from the war, entirely changed. They see things cannot continue in the old way. It was a revolution in the spirit of the times. And Gropius's vision inspired them all. Brilliant artists and craftsmen, teachers and their students, full of energy, talent, and hope for the future. Together, they could change it for the better, reinvent the way things looked and how they worked. And so the dream came true.
Breuer couldn't get over the amount of open and unused space in America. The fact that there were places where you couldn't see houses, where there was nothing but trees or woodland or fields, caused him to rethink his whole idea of space.
I think that these small cottages that Breuer built some years ago in New England and along Cape Cod and so forth, I think that they were jewels, priceless. He used a lot of wood. He was enamored with huge fieldstone walls. I think that they are houses that have everything to do with America.
Breuer is a rather exuberant person. He enjoyed rich materials, stone walls, certain forms, and Gropius loved the New England architecture because it corresponded very much to the Puritan aspect of his personality. He was very demanding on himself. This is, in my opinion, one of the reasons why he couldn't get along with Breuer.
You had these two minds. One of them who loved to explain, loved to talk, who was very literate, and the other one who was an instinctive young man who had a very sure eye, who was the darling of the Bauhaus when he was a younger boy, and who was an incredibly intuitive designer.
I still enjoy every second being in our summer house, what he designed, because he had an absolute extra sense of what makes one's body happy in a space, eyes and spirit. And in Gropius, I felt whatever he was doing had to go through his social conviction. And if he did anything which was not quite in the same philosophical key, he was uneasy.
The social concern was very, very important in the Bauhaus movement in Europe. I happen to belong to that early generation of students at Harvard, and I like to think that that same social concern was there at that time.
One of the tenets of the school, that architecture should be taught along with planning and with city planning and with urbanism, and not as isolated monuments.
There were no easy answers to the Great Depression, but Gropius's ideas were now in the spirit of the times once again. And so his students were given their goal for the future: to improve the life of the community, with man's needs at the center of all planning and building.
The social aspects of the Bauhaus were really part of the thing that split the Bauhaus later on. Mies was an artist, and Mies decided that he could not really support this social attitude. The Bauhaus itself became the place where these issues were fought out. Mies won, and when Mies won, he decided to limit the social content
he was not interested in public housing per se. He was interested in the vocabulary of architecture and the celebration of space as a human experience. He didn't hear any of these populist voices that we hear today. He had a vision and a task that he set for himself. And many times he told me, you know, those things that people challenge me with are for you to do. I have a task to do, and I'm not going to live forever.
According to Mies, you build one building, you build all the other buildings exactly like it. He thought that that function follows structure. Everything followed the structural clarity and obviousness. Structure was the ultimate aim.
Mies did not have in mind changes in scale. The big glass buildings that he had projected in Germany were visions that he built later. Obviously, with disciplines changed and evolved, but those disciplines came out of Mies's own work.
Mies's great contribution was in the way that he saw space and in the way he saw material. For him, space was the evanescent architectural reality. Nothing counted but space. And he manipulated space in heroic ways. The second thing that was important to him was the issue of material, because it was minimalist. There was so little material. What little material there was had to be very beautifully done.
I owe a great deal to Mies van der Rohe. He's a perfectionist, and that I admire very much. And he has said many times that he'd much rather be good than original, and I share that. I think an architect is still an artist.
His great success was really based more on his ability to project a mysterious and desirable persona, an ability to pedagogically convey ideas with great clarity at IIT, and finally, and most importantly, to produce elegant, buildable buildings out of America's technology.
When Mies van der Rohe came to this country, he found really in the steel factories and the steel catalogs that were available to everyone who designs buildings and to engineers and so forth, he found all the pieces, small beams, large I-beams, angles, this and that, channels or what have you. Out of this, he did attempt to